First of all, the people that are here with you, Residence Life staff, these are not rules that most of us have had any part in making. We have certain stipulations that say you will do this, you may do that, and then that creates boundaries that we have to operate within. Once those boundaries are set, then there's certain fairness issues that have to be regarded. In terms of our personal philosophy about how people should be disciplined, I think that the most important kind of discipline would be discipline that would be the greatest deterrent. I hear people say that it's not a huge deterrent for people to be suspended. You should see how much people do not want to be suspended when that comes on the table. People are begging to pay a fine instead of being suspended, so this is inaccurate.
Okay.
And usually, though, sorry,
Go ahead.
when new students will come in and sign a notice saying that I will live by the rules of PUC, and they need to read the handbook and be aware of what can be done and what cannot be done. And that's put on record.
Okay.
I'd be interested to know what a student thinks about the whole fine thing.
I disagree with the idea of a fine. Fines don't necessarily hurt the student, and, well, depending on the financial situation of the students. There are many students who are here and they're working to pay their own way, and they're lucky if they come home with $50 a week for their actual, fun entertainment. And then there are other students that are on the other end of the spectrum that their parents pay for everything, or they're here on grants and they're just free riding it. And a fine doesn't affect them in any sort of way. So really, it's not as much a matter, I believe, of punishment as it is of correcting the behavior. As Alan mentioned, there is a student life agreement that every student signs when they sign into the dorms. I don't know how that works for campus housing for students living in Brookside or college or in individual homes, but the students are given a handbook, every student, upon their check-in at the beginning of the school year. And if they don't read that and then come complaining about policies, then it's not the school's fault, it's individual responsibility. So as far as, well, I guess, judicial measures for alcohol, it would make more sense to me for it to, the first offense to be some kind of correction like Dean Wood mentioned, whether it's AA meetings or it would be, I didn't know anything about the alcohol EDU program before, so I like that sort of thing where it's more behavior modification, like maybe this was the first time, and so rather than a big smack across the face, we'll help you learn, okay, that's a bad idea. But it would seem to me that a fine is not effective as a means of punishment because it's not equal.
Yeah. Right. They just won't learn anything. They'll just be another thing they'll pay off, and they'll just go on their merry way.
It's like a parking ticket.
Yeah, they won't learn anything much.
All right. Going on to our third email that we have, it goes, I think drinking and or possession of alcohol is an individual personal decision, and there shouldn't be any restriction over an entire student body. I've been old enough to drink for a few years now and do not drink alcohol regularly. The alcohol rule exists because parents of students want their babies to be safe. I have seen PUC people extremely intoxicated. This rule just makes our campus more legalistic. When I first told my father that I was going to PUC, he told me that some PUC students were known for party habits, and he is an Adventist and only knows of the school through its reputation in the Valley. Does this rule actually help those who really need the help? People with an addiction find their own ways to get their fix, rules or no rules. This email, I believe, has its heart and its main point in people, dealing with their problems and whether or not there are rules that, the people who are going to drink are going to drink. So, on that, how much do you guys feel that actually having, the rules set here prevent a lot of people from getting involved in that kind of, lifestyle? Or do you think that it actually prevents as many people from doing this as you think? I don't know, as you students or you as deans and what you see.
I think for the most part, when a person's alcohol use comes to our attention, it's usually because it's gotten over the top.
Okay.
Usually it's created some sort of disruption, and they're not controlling their alcohol use. If people are partying and drinking and doing things that don't come to our attention, then it's clear that they're maintaining some sort of boundaries of their own to keep it from coming to our attention. We would be the silliest people to ask how much drinking goes on at PUC because there's a systematic and intentional effort to try to have us not gather that data on a one-to-one basis. But I think that it would be naive to gather any group of adolescents or people of any age older than adolescents and think that there's no substance use. That's ridiculous. There's no congregation, there's no denomination, there's no company, there's no group of people where there's not people using something to help them get a good feeling or make a bad feeling go away. And when we see people using alcohol, they're doing one of those two things. They're either trying to fit in, make something not hurt, or just have a good feeling when they don't feel like they have enough good feelings. And that's something to approach with understanding of what humans are really after in this life. Those two things mostly.
I think our concerns for college-age students is that if we go to some of the secular schools, national schools, alcohol on campus is a huge epidemic. It's a huge problem. And recently some of us went to a conference at Berkeley, and it actually was on alcohol and substance abuse on campuses. And we got to listen to the Dean of Students at Berkeley talk about their program and what they do. And they actually require all of their freshmen to take an alcohol prevention course before coming to school now. And, you know, it is a good idea, and we're talking about it within our Adventist school system as well. Because sometimes we're hearing people say, well, we don't hear enough about, you know, the harms of alcohol. We don't feel like we're really educated enough. Some people say that they got way too much information. And so it's kind of a difficult thing to assess. But what we do know is college-age students make choices all the time, some good ones and some bad ones. And if they make a choice to use alcohol and the situation is a dangerous situation for them, it could change their whole lives in an instant. And what we, I think, wanted to say to people is when you choose to come to PUC, know you're choosing to come to a school where alcohol is something we ask you not to participate in. If you want to participate in that lifestyle, you probably should go someplace else.
All right.
The idea that is brought out in this third email that the reason that we have the rule is that parents want their babies protected. I think more accurately, the reason that the rule is here is because the people who founded this school were of a certain philosophy that precluded the use of alcohol at all. That's a distinctive of the people group that made this college to advance and sustain their values in society. Those people that sacrificed and created this place in the first place, that was very important to them. And it is continuing to be important to the organization, the institution that really is our sponsoring institution. This is a Seventh-day Adventist college, and even though individual Seventh-day Adventists do every human behavior that is on record, I'm sure, one earmark is that we promote an alcohol-free lifestyle, and I pray that it continues.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for this discussion. I want to thank you all very much for coming down here to the sanctuary in the middle of the week. I appreciate it all, and I'm sure our viewers do too. And hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of the quarter, and we'll see you guys right there. Stay tuned, guys. We have Kyle Lamond coming up, who's going to tell you about all the entertainment news that we have going on. We also have the Campus Chronicle people showing up and telling you what's going on over the next week. So talk to you later.